Hello and welcome back to my channel. I hope the background noise is not too bad because there's some construction going on in our streets. But I'm making this video today because I have finished my manuscript. I don't even know how to fully process this right now. It has been 6 years in the making. I literally feel like I've just given birth to something, even though I have no idea what real childbirth is like. I feel like I've been laboring over something for such a long time, and now it's finally out. It's finally done. It's built, it's there, and it's kind of a wild feeling. So I just wanted to do kind of like a little vlog style video showing you the last few days of editing, what it took for me to actually finish it, and then also just some of my thoughts around how to know when you've actually finished and how to know when to stop, because it's definitely really tempting to just continuously edit forever. I still, even now sitting here, have this feeling like, oh, should I go and read through that one more time? Should I edit that one more time? Should I check this? Should I check this? It honestly is so hard to put it down and stop. So just some thoughts at the end about that as well. But anyway, here's what it took for me to finish writing / editing my debut fantasy novel. I'm probably way too silhouetted in this shot, but anyway, I just wanted to give you the vibe of my little writing corner. I have noticed that I'm starting to get to the point with editing that I'm losing perspective on what needs to change and what needs to stay the same, to the point where I'm at risk of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I just feel like I've edited this so much and overthought it so much to the point where I'm just not sure anymore. I think I've actually overthought every single chapter in this book. I need to actually just wrap this up. I need to call it a day at some point. I need to call it finished and decide that it's ready to send, because otherwise I'm just gonna start spiraling into this never-ending funnel of it's not good enough yet, it's not good enough yet, this could be better, this could be better. It's just kind of never ending. And the thing is that what is perfection? I don't think perfection exists in art. So I think literary agents must know that. They must have this in mind, that they're not going to be receiving perfect manuscripts. So the question is this at a place where I feel proud of it? And whatever else still needs to be worked on, honestly, it's gonna kind of come down to opinion in a lot of ways. I mean, besides the line editing and improving the English, obviously that's a little bit more objective, and I'm sure there are going to be areas where I need help with that as well. But in terms of the story that I've written, I just feel like I no longer have a clear, okay, these are the problems that I need to fix. You know what I mean? So there are about 3 points left in my little notebook that I do want to work on. Things that come later, I just want to make sure that I've foreshadowed those. I want to make sure that certain elements are kind of explained in the proper place, that things are not coming, in the third act as a surprise to how the world functions, for example. So I just want to make sure that those elements are solid in the first few chapters. I want to make sure that kind of the 2 or 3 biggest changes that I want to make are done. And then after that, I think I need to call this a day, because I can't keep doing this forever. It's March, as of recording this, it's March 27th, 2026. I'm way beyond the point that I thought I was gonna be in terms of how long it's taking me to finish this book and how long it's taking me to be ready to submit to agents. I thought I was gonna be you know, done with submitting to at least my first batch of agents by the end of 2025. And here we are, like a quarter later, and I still haven't submitted to anyone. So yeah, it's getting to the point now where I'm like, I need to call this a day at some point. The time has come for me to move on and to call this finished, you know? So I'm gonna give myself like a few more days to finish these notes, and then that's it. All I want to be doing in April is writing my cover letter and preparing the submission materials and deciding who I'm going to submit to first, and all of the like logistic or like researchy things. That's what April is going to be for. Beyond April, I need to actually hit send and like send this to some people. So let's do this. Let's finish the last few edits. Alright, so it's the 2nd of April and I can't be bothered to put on makeup or anything. So this is what a writer really looks like when they're working on their book. But yeah, this week has not been as productive as I was hoping it would be. I feel like if I had the time, I could finish editing this book in like a week or two. But my work has been scheduling me for more hours than usual. So I've really just been trying to recover from that. Working in retail is like so physically draining, but also so mentally draining. Dealing with customers asking you the same question every 5 minutes, the same playlist in the store over and over again every single day. Just like the noise in the store, especially on Saturdays or Fridays and Sundays, like the quantity of people that you have to move through for 8 hours, it's just so overstimulating. Anyway, so yesterday I just like took some time to recover, and today I need to try and at least be a little bit productive. So I've decided that I'm gonna try and write for 2 hours, and then if after 2 hours like I need to stop, then I need to stop. But if I feel like I can keep going, then I'll keep going. So I'm not gonna try and force myself to finish this book early if like my mental health is going to take a hit. So I'm just gonna listen to my body. I'm gonna take it 1 hour at a time. There's also a lot of books that I need to read because the comp titles that I ordered have arrived. So I need to read through those and figure out which ones I want to use in my cover letter. So there's just like a lot of things going on right now, and I am starting to question if I'm going to be ready to submit by May. But at this point, all I can do is sit down and work on it, and we'll see how far I get today. So hello, it's 6.5 hours later, and I just spent the whole afternoon going from start to finish of the book, reviewing the romantic arc, and I feel pretty satisfied with it now. I've changed this romantic B plot so many times. I keep changing my mind about what I want it to look like for this book, because I do envision this as a trilogy. And I think I've finally like brought that plot to a close. I think I'm finally happy with where it's at. So yeah, I did just spend considerably more than 2 hours working on this book today. The draft only increased by 200 words, but yeah, that's not really an indication of how much thinking I did today. So I feel pretty happy with what I was able to achieve today. And I think I'm gonna just like check that box of figuring out what I want to do with the romantic arc in this book, and I'm just gonna go with that decision. I'm not gonna change it again. I'm just gonna leave it at that. For now, this is what I want to do, and I need to just trust my gut and go with it and stop editing that particular element. So that's done. I still have other elements that I need to work on next time, so I'm not like done with everything, but that I think was kind of one of the biggest things that was gnawing at me, and now I'm gonna call it done. So until next week, let's see how it goes. I'm feeling a bit frustrated because I feel like April is just slipping away, and I just have been working so much at the shop that I haven't been able to be very productive with my book, and it's just so frustrating because I feel like if I was given the time and the energy, then I would have finished it by now, and I could have probably applied to agents by the end of April, but that's not going to happen because the last 2 weeks have just been so unproductive. And you know, it'll be nice probably at the end of the month when I get a little bit more in my paycheck. But the whole reason why I've taken this minimum wage job, why I left my corporate job, why I'm working part-time, like the whole purpose is so that I can finish this book. So it just feels really frustrating to have been scheduled for more hours at the shop. And I'm kind of just going along with it because it would be nice to have a month where I earn a little bit more. But I'm also like, if I just had like one day of energy and time to finish this, I could finish this in like a day or two, I feel like. So hopefully in the coming week, I'll have a bit more energy and time to work on it. But for now, I'm just gonna like rest and try to, make it through. Hello, this is Editing Emily. I do have a bit of a cold, so excuse the voice. But I realized that I never filmed on the day that I actually finished writing the book or editing the book, which was kind of the whole point of this video. And I think you'll understand why in a second, but for the purposes of this video, I am going to reenact the moment that I finished editing the book. Okay, are you ready? What do I do with this? Okay, I guess I'm gonna... It's done! That is not what happened. What actually happened was I sat down to work on the book, and I was like, okay, I have the whole day ahead of me. I'm going through my checklist of the things that, you know, I want to accomplish, the things that I want to change, da-da-da-da. I get to the end of the checklist. It's like 5 in the afternoon. I get to the end and I'm like, look at that. That's the last one. Is it really the last one? Is there anything else that I wanted to change? Nothing else. No, I changed that. I'm happy with that. I changed that. I'm happy with that. Like, I'm going through the list and I'm like, I guess there's nothing else that I want to change. Maybe I should just read through the whole thing one more time just to be safe. So, you know, I go back to chapter 1, I'm scrolling, I'm reading, and I'm like, I mean, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this. Scrolling, reading. Yeah, I'm happy with this. Scrolling, reading. I'm happy with this too. Maybe I'm done. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna like step away from this and go and watch Treasure Planet, because that's one of the movies that inspired me. You know, maybe I should just like touch base with the Prime Muse one more time before I decide that I'm done with my, you know, manuscript. So I close the laptop for dramatic purposes, and I start Disney, I watch Treasure Planet. I watch Treasure Planet. I go to bed, and the next morning I wake up and I'm like, I did finish it. I did finish writing and editing this book. So I guess I'm done. So really that's what finishing the book looked like for me. It wasn't this like super dramatic moment. And even now I'm like, I feel like there's still things I could tweak. But essentially I am done with this. I have decided that I'm done. And it's so true that once I had the time and energy for it, like I was there, you know, it was pretty much all done. So yeah, back to Emily from the past, which was Emily the day after finishing the book. It's the 21st of April, 2026, and yesterday I finished editing the book. And I have just been thinking about a video I saw from a literary agent on TikTok, and she was talking about the biggest difference between authors who are successful and authors who are not successful. So obviously what success looks like can be very different. There's all kinds of different forms of success when it comes to creative writing, novel writing, but what this literary agent was saying is that regardless of how you define success for an author, the biggest aspect that is going to make someone successful is their ability to finish projects, their ability to finish a book and move on to the next one and start the next one. And that's because I think anyone who's an author knows that deciding to stop working on something is so difficult. It's so difficult to know when is the right time to stop, when is it done, or, you know, should I just continue trying to polish this even more, trying to improve this even more. You know, it's really difficult to come to a point of like, no, this is good as it is, it's finished as it is, it has everything that it needs, and I'm going to choose to step away and stop working on it. That is really, really difficult, and you probably noticed that it's something that I struggled with as well. I think one of the reasons why it's so hard, especially as a non-published author, as a debut author, I think the reason why it's so hard is because I know that this is my chance to make an impression on agents. So I feel like it has to be the best thing I've ever written. It has to be perfect. It has to be worthy of essentially starting my writing career as a published author if I want to be traditionally published. So there's a lot of pressure on this piece of work to be as good as it can be and to reach this super subjective level of good enough. It's just hard to know, you know, what the agents are going to be expecting. It's hard to know what else they're going to be comparing your work to. It's hard to know, yeah, if it's going to be good enough. And so the feeling is like, well, I don't know if I'm ever going to feel good enough. So that then comes with the temptation to just endlessly edit and endlessly try to make it as perfect as possible, because rejection is scary. And even though, you know, I've already accepted that rejection is just part of it, right? That as soon as you start to put your work out there, to approach agents, it's just part of the game. It's part of the deal that you're going to be rejected by most of the people that you submit to. So it really feels like quite a high stakes thing, that even though we as writers know that there's going to be rejection involved, you also kind of know that this is your shot to make an impression. And I don't know, maybe agents are willing to kind of take a second look at authors if they come back to them a few years later with a different book. So maybe there's not as much pressure on it as we kind of feel that there is, but there's always this thing in the back of your mind that if you make a bad impression, that they're gonna, not be so willing to really consider the next time that you apply to them. So I think that's part of the fear and part of the hesitation to stop working on something, is just this enormous pressure to make something that's going to be worthy of establishing your career. And of course, the issue is that perfection is not attainable, especially in the arts. And what is a good book, what makes a good book, is so subjective, even between people working in the same level, people working in these big 5 publishers, people working in the biggest agencies in London or New York. There are going to be different opinions, and there are going to be different things that they're looking for. So in a sense, there's hope because it is subjective, and so one rejection doesn't necessarily mean that everyone else is also going to reject it. But a subjective industry is always going to be so intimidating to try and enter, and it's always going to be hard to know when something is good enough. But I always think of the experiences that I had growing up painting with my gran. My gran is an artist. She spent her life painting. She sold many paintings. She exhibited in galleries. She was on judging committees. She is really someone that I look up to, and I really appreciate the wisdom that she has passed down to me in terms of the mindset of an artist. And I had a really fortunate, amazing childhood growing up painting next to her. I would join her classes, I would paint and learn from her. And one of the things that she always used to talk about was knowing when to stop, especially when it comes to things like watercolors. Overworking a painting can actually ruin it. And so getting a good sense of when to stop, when to step back, is something that you really need to develop as an artist, and kind of really develop a confidence in your own ability before you overwork it, before you start to muddy it with too much paint. But ultimately, only the artists themselves can know when it's done. So no one else is there to tell you, okay, now it's done, 1 + 1 = 2. So that's also kind of a challenge as an artist, to really trust yourself and trust your gut and trust that, I stand behind what I've made. I'm proud of what I've made. And regardless of how it's received, I'm happy with how it is. I am also just itching to work on other things. I've got other ideas that I'm excited to write about, and I'm no longer feeling this urge or push or need to work on the book that I just finished. And it kind of makes me think of something that Adele said. She's an up-and-coming pop star. She was in that Cat's Eye documentary, if you know, you know. And I really admire her as an artist. And something she said, it was just in an Instagram story, so I don't have the exact quote anymore, but she was talking about making art that she needs to make, as opposed to making art that she thinks other people are gonna like, or for trends, or for an algorithm or something like that. So making art because she needs to make it. For a long time, I felt like I needed to write this book. I felt this overwhelming drive to finish it, to work on it. And even though it took years, even though there was a year where I had a burnout and I couldn't work on the book at all, I just always knew I was going to come back to this project and finish it, because I just had this overwhelming need to finish it. And now I feel like I'm in a place where I did it, and I no longer feel the need to work on it. Instead, I feel the need to work on something else. I feel like art is often connected to the personal season that we're going through. So I feel like I'm in a place where there's something else that I need to work on now for me, for myself. And this YA novel, I feel almost like a sense of relief. And obviously, because it's the first book in what I hope is going to become a series, there are some red threads there that I'm going to pick up again. But everything that I felt like I needed to say and do in the first book, yeah, I just feel like I'm ready to move on, I guess. So I just feel so proud of it. I feel so proud of this project. I really put my heart and soul into it, and just stepping back and thinking about what I've made, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see the potential that it has. And even if no one else ever read this book, I'm just really proud of what I've put together and what I've made. So however it's received, whether it gets an agent, whether it gets a publisher, whether readers enjoy it or not, the number of sales, like whatever, however it's received is just completely out of my control. And what is in my control is the story. And the story is something I'm proud of. The story is something that I stand behind. So more than anything, I'm just excited to start working on the next thing. But in the meantime, I'm going to be working on my cover letter, my synopsis, all the materials that are needed to apply to agents. So I will be keeping you updated on how that goes. And yeah, to get it out into the world. So if you're interested to see how my querying journey goes, of course I'm going to be uploading more videos as I go along, sharing that journey with you. And I hope to see you in the next videos. But for now, I'm just gonna soak in the sunlight of the fact that I have finally finished this thing.